All right, welcome to the video here today for Friday, September 2nd, 2022. Happy Friday to you. The weekend's finally here. My name is Brock Page, and I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. And if you want to see which one of these free picks on this video that I'm actually betting on personally, you may want to think about signing up for my board member package on my website. It's an all-inclusive membership that gives you access to every one of my personal bets every single day, all the way till October 1st. I'm actually hitting at 63% in my last 35 board member tier package bets alone, and the link for that package is in the description section below. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. We're going to take a look at the Blue Jays squaring off against the Pirates, 6:35 Eastern first pitch in the Steel City. Toronto's minus 260 on the road, totals 8 runs. Alek Manoah for the Blue Jays, Johan Oviedo for Pittsburgh. Now the Buccos dropped 8 out of their last 10, and they averaged only 2.8 runs a game during that time frame. And that really shouldn't come as much of a surprise. The Pirates are hitting just .220 as a franchise, and they're striking out more times a game than any other club in the National League. They're also facing Alek Manoah on the mound, and he's been an absolute stud here this year for Toronto. The righty's got a dozen wins on the year, along with 147 strikeouts. Manoah's also got an ERA in the 2s, along with a 1.03 whip. When it comes to hitting the baseball, there's not many clubs who do it better than Toronto. These guys are in the top 10 in OPS, and they're striking out fewer times a game than most clubs in the American League. Alejandro Kirk's leading the organization in batting average. He's hitting just about .300 at the plate. Meanwhile, Vlad Guerrero Jr., he's the club leader in homers and runs batted in. When it comes to the total in this one, the Jays saw their last 5 straight interleague road games get over the number. Meanwhile, the Pirates, on the other side of things, they've gone 67% to the over against the American League themselves. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward Toronto minus 1.5, over 8 runs. Next ball game, it is going to be Rockies taking on the Reds, 6:40 p.m. East. Cincinnati's minus 120, totals 9.5. Luis Cessa for Cincinnati, Kyle Freeland for Colorado. As bad as Freeland's bid, he's actually eclipsed the century mark with regard to strikeouts. Now, the Rockies as a team, they've also got the W in 2 out of their last 4, and that includes victories over the likes of the Mets and the Braves during that short span. Now, hitting-wise, there's really not many clubs who get on base more than Colorado. These guys are actually in the top 3 in baseball right now in team batting average, and they're led by C.J. Cron, who's 7th in the bigs in runs batted in. Cron's got 86 ribbies on the season. Meanwhile, teammate Jose Iglesias, he's the team leader in batting average. He's hitting .301 at the plate. Now, Colorado's taking on a Cincy squad who lost 7 out of their last 10, and they have a tough time getting the W at home. These guys have a win percentage of just .415 at the Great American Ballpark. And when it comes to making contact, the Reds are also in the bottom 5 in strikeouts per 9 at the plate. Starting pitcher Luis Cessa, he comes into today's start with an ERA in the 5s along with a 1.44 whip. When it comes to the total, 8 out of Cincy's last 10 meetings with Colorado got over the line. So if you're into historical trends, certainly want to think about that one there. As a matter of fact, the Reds allowed nearly 7 runs per contest in those 10 meetings I just mentioned. I'm going to lean toward Colorado plus $1, over 9.5. Next game, A's, O's, 7:05 East. Baltimore's minus 175, totals 8 runs. Dean Kramer for Baltimore, J.P. Sears for Oakland. And even though Sears has just 21 1/3 innings of work under his belt, his whip has crept up to a 1.36. And even if he pitches well here today, this Oakland lineup, they can't hit for nothing. They're dead last in team batting average. They're also scoring only 3.4 runs a game. They're also going up against Dean Kramer, who's 6-4 with an ERA in the 2s. Now, as a team, Baltimore got the W in 7 out of their last 10. They play their best baseball at Camden Yards. These guys have a .607 win percentage in front of their own fans. Anthony Santander, he leads the franchise in homers and runs batted in. Now, total-wise, Baltimore's 9-1 to the under in their last 10. Meanwhile, the A's went 60% to the under in their last 10 as well. I'm going to lean toward Baltimore -175, under 8. Next ball game, Royals, Tigers, 7:10 p.m. East. Now, both teams are -110 in this one, pretty much a coin flip. Totals 8.5 runs. Daniel Lynch for Kansas City, Drew Hutchison for Detroit. Now, Hutch is just 2-7 on the year with an ERA in the 4s. The Tigers are also on a 3-game skid, and they pretty much have the worst lineup of hitters in the game. Detroit's dead last in homers and OPS. They're also averaging a league-worst 3.3 runs per contest. Now, they're going to have to face Danny Lynch, who's just 3 strikeouts shy of 100 for the season. The Royals also got the W in 2 out of their last 4. And that includes victories against the White Sox and Padres. Of course, Salvi Perez, he's leading the squad in homers. Meanwhile, Bobby Witt Jr., he's leading the club in RBI with 66 of them. When it comes to making contact with the baseball, KC has been one of the harder teams to strike out in the league. They're actually in the top 10 in fewest strikeouts per 9. When it comes to the total, 3 out of KC's last 4 road games fell under the number. Meanwhile, Detroit went 6-1 to the under in their last 7 at Comerica Park. I'm going to lean toward Kansas City -110, under 8.5. Next ball game, it is going to be Yankees taking on the Rays, 7:10 p.m. East. Tampa Bay is -130 at home, total 7. Jeffrey Springs for Tampa Bay, Domingo Germán for New York. Now, Mingo comes into today's contest with a .319 ERA and a 1.11 whip. And that's not overly shocking, as this Yankee pitching staff ranks in the top 3 in fewest runs allowed. Now, offensively, no one's hitting more home runs than the Bombers. And, of course, most of that is thanks to Aaron Judge, who is a league-best 51 homers. Now, Judge is also leading the majors in RBI and OPS. They're taking on a Tampa team on the other side of things who really hasn't been much of a threat hitting for power. These guys are in the bottom 10 in home runs per contest. Now, they're also striking out more times a game than most clubs in the American League. Now, when it comes to the totals, Tampa Bay is 61% to the under in their divisional home games. Meanwhile, New York went 8-2 to the under in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward the Yankees +1.5, under 7. Next ball game, it is going to be Nats-Mets, 7:10 p.m. East. The New York Mets are -270 at Citi Field, totals 8 runs. David Peterson for New York, Josiah Gray for Washington. And even though strikeouts are up for Gray, he still comes into today's contest with a losing record and an ERA in the high 4s. When it comes to offensive production, Washington's in the bottom 5 in homers. They're averaging only 3.8 runs a game. Now, they're also facing David Peterson, who's 7-3 with an ERA of 3.21. The lefty's also got 104 strikeouts in just 89-plus innings. Now, when it comes to hitting the baseball, the Mets have been a real tough out this year. They're in the top 5 in fewest strikeouts at the plate. They also have Pete Alonso, who's 3rd in the league in RBI with 105. Now, total-wise, the Mets are 62% to the over against the NL East in Flushing, Queens. Meanwhile, the Nats went 14-8 to the over in their divisional road games. I'm going to lean toward the Mets -1.5, over 8. Next contest, it is going to be Mariners Guardians, 7:10 p.m. East. Seattle's -135, total 7.5. Luis Castillo for Seattle, Zach Plesac for Cleveland. Now, Plesac's just 3-11 on the year with an ERA in the 4s. Meanwhile, as a team, the Guardians dropped 5 out of their last 7. and they've virtually been no threat hitting the long ball. They're second to last in the majors in home runs per game. They're also facing Luis Castillo, who's got a 2.84 ERA with the Mariners. Now, the righties also fanned 39 batters in just 31-plus innings, and he also has a 1.07 whip. Now, as a team, the Mariners got the W in their last 4 straight, and they scored 25 total runs during that short span. Ty France leads the team in batting average. Meanwhile, Eugenio Suarez, he's the club leader in homers and runs batted in. When it comes to the total in this one, Seattle went 8-2 to the under in their last 10. Meanwhile, Cleveland saw their last 10 straight all fall under the line themselves. That's 18-2 to the under combined between these two teams in their last 10 games respectively. I'm going to lean towards Seattle, minus 135, under 7.5. Next ball game, Rangers, Red Sox, 7:10 p.m. East. Boston's minus 185, totals 10. Nick Pivetta for Boston, Dallas Keuchel for Texas. As bad as the Rangers have been lately, they've done a nice job covering the run line on the road. They're actually 5-0 against the number in their last 5 away games. They've also done a nice job this year putting runners across the plate. These guys are in the top 10 in scoring, top 10 in homers. Of course, Corey Seager, he leads the team with 29 bombs on the year. Meanwhile, Nate Lau, he is the club leader with a 303 batting average. Now, they're taking on Nick Pivetta on the bump here for Boston, and he's got double-digit losses, and of course, a losing record. Excuse me. Now, the righties also got an ERA in the 4s. And for some reason, these Bo Sox hitters are having a tough time making contact at Fenway. They're in the bottom 10 in strikeouts per 9 at home. Now, when it comes to the number, 5 out of the Red Sox last 7 in Beantown got over the line. Meanwhile, the Rangers went 7-3 at the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward Texas, plus 1.5, keeping this one close, over 10 runs. Next ball game, it is going to be Marlins at the Braves, 7:20 p.m. East. Now, Atlanta's the $1.75 favorite, total 7 runs. Charlie Morton for Atlanta, Sandy Alcantara for Miami. And even though Sandy continues to pitch great, he's been awesome this year. The Marlins as a team, they've really kind of been tanking. Fish are in the tank. That's a pun. But anyway, the Marlins are on a 4-game skid, and they also dropped 6 out of their last 7. Now, their biggest issue this season has been their lack of hitting. They're in the bottom 5 in batting average, and they're also scoring only 3.6 runs a game. Now, they're also going up against Charlie Morton, who's got 168 strikeouts and a 1.19 whip. Meanwhile, as a team, the Braves won 6 out of their last 9. And they scored 49 total runs during that stretch. Austin Riley's got a team-best 33 home runs. He's 3rd in the league in that category. Meanwhile, Matt Olson's 6th in the bigs in RBI with 87. When it comes to hitting for power, the Braves lead the National League right now in home runs per game. Now, total-wise, 3 out of Atlanta's last 4 at Truist Park fell under the number. Meanwhile, the Marlins went 63% to the under in their divisional road games. I'm going to lean toward Atlanta, minus 175, under 7. Next contest, little AL Central action. I'm talking about the Twins squaring off against the White Sox, 8:10 p.m. East. Minnesota's minus 135 on the road, totals 8 runs. Sonny Gray for Minnesota, Davis Martin for Chicago. Now, Martin's just 2-4 in the year with an ERA of 4.62. The White Sox also played their worst baseball in front of their own fans. These guys currently have a 477 win percentage at Guaranteed Rate Field. Now, they're taking on a Minnesota club who won 5 out of their last 6. And they averaged nearly 7 runs a game during that time frame. Luis Arias is 3rd in the league in batting average. The first baseman's hitting .318 at the dish. Meanwhile, Jorge Polanco, he has the most RBI in the lineup here today. When it comes to team OPS, well, the Twins are in the top 10 in the league in that category. Now, pitching-wise, Minnesota should be in good hands here today with Sonny Gray. He's 7-4 with a 3.04 ERA and a 1.11 WHIP. Gray's also averaging just about a strikeout an inning. He's got 99 Ks in just 102 innings. Now, total-wise, the Twins went 60% to the over in their last 10. They're also 12-9 to the over in their divisional road games. Meanwhile, the White Sox went 60% to the over against the AL Central at home. I'm going to lean toward Minnesota minus 135, over 8. Next matchup, little NL Central action. I'm talking about the Cubs at the Cardinals. And that's going to be an 8:15 Eastern start time at Busch Stadium. St. Louis is the $2.50 favorite at home. Totals 8 runs. Jordan Montgomery, probable for the Cardinals. Adrian Sampson, possible for Chicago. Now, Sampy's got just one win in 65-plus innings. Meanwhile, as a team, the Cubs dropped 4 out of their last 5. And they have a tough time at the plate. These guys are in the bottom 10 in scoring. They're fanning more times per contest than most clubs in the National League. They're also facing Jordan Montgomery, who's 4-0 since coming over to the Cardinals. Lefty's got a 1.76 ERA with his new team, along with a .82 WHIP. Meanwhile, as a club, the Cards did win 4 out of their last 5, and they averaged nearly 8 runs a game in those victories. Paul Goldschmidt's hitting a league-best .332 at the plate. He's also in the top 3 in homers, RBI, and OPS. And when it comes to divisional contests, the Cards are 17-8 at Busch Stadium. Now, total-wise, St. Louis is 60% to the over in those divisional home games I just mentioned. Meanwhile, Chicago went 60% to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward the Cardinals minus 1.5, over 8. Next ball game, it is going to be Astros, Angels, 9:38 East. Houston's minus 160, totals 8 runs. Lance McCullers for the Astros, Reed Detmers for LA. And even though Detmers is having a good year, the Angels have been terrible against the AL West at home. These guys have won only 8 out of 25 divisional home games. That's good for just 32% in that category. Now, their lineups also had serious problems with strikeouts. These guys are getting punched out more times a game than any other club in baseball. They're also facing an Astros team who's 7-2 in their last 9, and they're really beating up on the AL West this year. These guys are 22-12 in their divisional road games. They also have a win percentage of .667 in all of their games against the AL West at any location. Pretty much very close to winning 70% of their divisional contests this year. Now, Yordan Alvarez, he's 3rd in the majors in OPS. He's also got 31 home runs on the year. Meanwhile, Kyle Tucker's leading the organization in RBI with 84. When it comes to the total, Houston saw unders in 6 out of their last 10 ball games. Meanwhile, LA's 60% to the under against the AL West at home. I'm going to lean toward Houston minus 160, under 8. Next contest, it is going to be Brewers at the Diamondbacks, 9:40 Eastern start time in the desert. Milwaukee's minus 120 on the road, totals 8.5. Eric Lauer for the Brewers, Zach Davies for Arizona. Now, don't let Zach's record fool you. The lack of wins, it's not on him. He's been performing well. He's got an ERA in the 3s along with a 1.20 WHIP. He's giving these guys chances to win. They just, for some reason, when he starts, they haven't taken advantage. But regardless, more recently, the D-backs got the W in 6 out of their last 7. And they scored 52 total runs during that short span. Christian Walker's got 31 homers and 75 RBI. He's actually 6th in the majors in that home run category. Meanwhile, Josh Rojas leads the lineup in batting average. Now they're taking on a Brewer team who has a losing record on the road. And they struggle at times at the plate. These guys are actually in the bottom 10 in the league in team batting average. They're also amongst the worst in the National League in strikeouts per 9 at the dish. Now, total-wise, Arizona saw 4 out of their last 5 at Chase Field get over the line. They're also 8-2 to the over in their last 10 at any location. I'm going to lean toward Arizona plus $1 over 8.5. Next ball game, little West Coast action. I guess the past couple of games have been West Coast action, but this is NL West action. I'm talking about the Padres taking on the Dodgers, 10:10 p.m. East. The LA Dodgers are minus 160 at home, totals 8 runs. Dustin May for Los Angeles, Yu Darvish for San Diego. And even though Darvi's been dominant, I'm not sure the Pods can keep up with the Dodgers in terms of scoring. Now, when it comes to the long ball, San Diego is actually in the bottom 10 in the league in homers per contest. They're also taking on Dustin May, who's got a 1.64 ERA through 11 innings. The righties also struck out 13 batters during that very short time frame. There was actually a viral video yesterday of Dustin May having a catch in the outfield. He wasn't playing catch, he was having a catch. But anyway, he was throwing the ball from like the middle of center field all the way toward the foul line. He just threw an absolute rope that hit the top of the wall. Looked like he was going to throw it through the wall. I mean, it's just, this guy's got a strong arm. But anyway, even if May struggles here today, this is a Dodger team that's been outscoring everyone. They're first in runs, batting average, and OPS. And speaking of OPS, Freddie Freeman is in the top 10 in the league in that category. He's also second in the bigs in batting average, right behind Paul Goldschmidt. Now, Trey Turner, he's in the top 10 in batting average himself. He's also the club leader in RBI with 86. Now, total-wise, the Dodgers have averaged nearly 6 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with San Diego. Meanwhile, the Pods went 4-2 to the over in their last 6 on the road. I'm going to lean toward the Dodgers minus 160, over 8. Next and final matchup, it is going to be Phil's Giants, 10:15 East. Both teams are minus $1.10, totals 8. Kyle Gibson for Philadelphia, Alex Cobb for San Francisco. Now, Corbin Cobb's just 4-6 on the year with a 1.30 whip. And aside from losing their last 7 straight, this Giants lineup simply can't get on base. They're in the bottom 10 in team batting average, and they're fanning more times a game than most clubs in the National League. They're also facing Kyle Gibson, who's 9-5 with 114 strikeouts. Meanwhile, as a team, the Fightins won 7 out of their last 10, and they scored plenty of runs in the process. Matter of fact, the Phils are currently in the top 5 in baseball in runs per game. Kyle Schwarber is the NL leader in homers with 36. Meanwhile, Bryce Harper is hitting .323 at the plate. When it comes to the scoring, the Phils saw their last 3 straight on the road get over the total. They're also averaging nearly 5.5 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with the Giants. And in those 10 meetings I just mentioned, the over cashed 7 times. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of overs to go around. I'm going to lean toward Philadelphia minus $1.10, over 8. And with that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap. Powered to you by my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. I like Toronto minus 1.5, over 8. Colorado plus $1, over 9.5. Baltimore minus 175, under 8. Kansas City minus $1.10, under 8.5. One final reminder, guys, if you want to see which one of these free picks on this video that I'm actually betting on personally, there's only one way to do that, and that's to sign up for a membership on my website. I like the Yankees plus 1.5, under 7. Give me the Mets minus 1.5, over 8. Seattle minus 135, under 7.5. Texas plus 1.5, over 10. Atlanta minus 175, under 7. Minnesota minus 135, over 8. St. Louis minus 1.5, over 8. Houston minus 160, under 8. Arizona plus $1, over 8.5. LA Dodgers minus 160, over 8. With my next and final free pick for the video, I'm going to lean toward Philadelphia minus $1.10, over 8. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on patreon.com/BrockPage. Now, guys, great news for you. It's only the 2nd of the month. Now, you're probably like, well, why is that great news? Well, I tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month that you sign up, the better. Guys, if you do sign up for a package, Patreon's going to bill you the day you sign up and then the 1st of every month following that. So if you do get a membership today, you're going to get access to that membership every single day all the way until October 1st. Once again, guys, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. You're getting incredible value here signing up on the 2nd of the month. The only thing earlier that is the 1st. So you're really, you're getting behind you're ahead of the game here by signing up at the 2nd of the month. Now, guys, if you want to get access to every single bet, every single package, every single day, you're going to want to sign up for my board member package. It's an all-inclusive membership. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, guys, happy Friday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.